I want to do a quick explanation with a few main points between a funky amps and my production amps. This is going to be a funky, okay, and this is going to be a production. This is a C316, although the C316, the main preamp, doesn't have the front panel yet. This is the GC316 BIG power supply with an optional rack mount panel. That's why the big pieces of blue panel, those are rack mounts. And on the back, you can take a look at the back. The back is going to look like something like this. It's black plexiglass with jacks lined up, purposely lined up with all the markings and laser engraved marking on the panel. That's what usually a production looks like. And going back to the Denon, was a Denon. This is still a Denon marking on it. I'm going to leave it like that. It was a Denon 2802 surround sound receiver, 5.1 per channel surround sound receiver. And I have already painted it, and the cover is going to look about the same, blue with pattern on it, and the back will look like this. This is the usual looking funky amps. I am reusing the binding post. I'm using four channel the binding post, but I'm going to tie them to these two red together, these two red together, and then all black together. That's how the amp config is. And this is FCF capacitor jack for the external capacitor pack for the output stage, SP cap pack jack for the input stage. Most likely, when I mount this, I don't usually mount it like very straight because I'm going to try to line up with whatever hole I have. This one going to be almost like this, and it will have marking on it, but the marking won't be laser cut on engraving, laser cut on black plexiglass. It will be more like a label on it, and and I have clear silicone to coat it on top so it won't come off. But on this one, I'm thinking about actually a hand engraved plexiglass panel side on the side. But that's how usually a funky looks like. And these are inputs, and this is going to be optional preamp output, the ground lift switch, and some stock funky doesn't have this much function on it, but this is a custom funky based on the i802. The customer has 802 and one more power, and budget is limited, so I offer him to do a funky with a little bit, well, keeping almost the same cost, and so he's happy on that. And the reason I'm doing funky is because I can save money on, first of all, the single most expensive component of almost any audio component is the chassis. That's the single most expensive part on any audio component is the chassis. The second is usually the transformer like this. For integrated amp and power amp, that's the transformer. Transformer is usually the second most expensive. And sometimes the heatsink, if you consider the heatsink as part of the chassis, that will be the most expensive. But some of the more expensive amp, they have external heatsink on side. And those heatsinks are quite expensive. If you're going to consider that as a part of the chassis, that would be still the same single most expensive component of the power amp. But if the heatsink is internal, yeah, that could be the second or the third most expensive. This is heatsink going to be in the amp. But if you're going to separate the heatsink out, external heatsink as an individual component, that could be more expensive than the transformer. So, but anyway, if you're asking the most expensive, single most expensive component of any audio component is usually the chassis. By not using production chassis and reusing this surround sound receiver chassis, it doesn't have to be surround sound. It can be two channel, and I will explain why I use surround sound most of the time later. By reusing one of these surround sound receiver chassis, and I only work on the broken one, I don't want to take apart a good one, I can save a lot of money on the production chassis. But when I get in there, I gotta do a few things to make things, workable. Because this is a better angle to show you because when I need to run wire from, let's say, this rectifier all the way to this capacitor, I'm gonna run wire on top of this cutout, and this cutout is quite have a little bit of burr on it. It's quite sharp. So if I just lay wire on top of that, and when it moves like that, it will cut into the burr, so it can damage the wire. So I got to do extra work on, say, putting a silicone channel on it to protect the wire, and this is protecting the wire from the power supply. This is the space for the transformer, power supply side, running to the input side. The heatsink over there, it's going to be mounted right on top like that. So the wire is going to run under the heatsink. Now on the back, that will be the speaker output running from this end, run to there, go back to the binding post. So that's the kind of things that I need to do extra work in order to protect the wire. Electrically, it's exactly the same as production. We are saving money on the chassis, and the money depends on what model. The money saved on the chassis, I can justify to do a little bit of painting and do a little bit extra silicone work. That is not going to be a lot of work compared to the cost of the I call it fancy chassis. Yeah, I sell that, but I still call it a fancy chassis. But and the general public like that kind of chassis. I don't necessarily need that myself, but that's my personal preference. But if I have to sell a component to a general public, I think most of the people like the fancy chassis. So, but occasionally, some people have fun with this funky style chassis. So that's one thing, that silicone protection. And if you look at this, I can turn the camera down. See that glob of silicone right there? That is because I have raised, they're not rivet, but let me find one to show you. That's there. That is, okay, on an angle, you can see that little thing is kind of raised up from the flat surface. And if I want to run wire on top of it, that is actually sharp. I can actually cut my skin on that little nut. And what they do is actually they just push the sheet metal from the bottom and then tap it. So that's why they have a burr on it. You can't see the burr on the camera, but they have a burr on it. So if you run your wire on your finger, you can actually cut the skin off from with that burr. So those are kind of the extra things I do. And also the surface, this surface is supposed to be mounted in the transformer, and they have a lump of here, lump of there. They were designed to mount their own original transformer. But if I want to mount a flat surface transformer on top of that, that is not going to work. So I am using silicone to level it up before I mount it. So that is kind of the extra work that I need to do in order to make things workable. But hey, you're not asking precision measure down to like micrometer precision. So I am willing to do it, and I'm actually have fun to paint this kind of things. So I'm not gonna lie to you. I am willing to take a little bit of less money when I do funky, because I build them. I have a little bit more. I'm actually more relaxed when I build funky, because I really don't have to be too concerned about scratching the chassis. If the screw hole's a little off, I can actually do something to patch it up, and that's kind of fun. So I would offer that as a cost-effective solution. I take a little bit less per hour, if you want to count it that way, to build funky. So those are the few things that between funky and a production amp, and the cost difference. And if you are totally into performance and can accept a little bit of lesser cosmetic, I'm willing to do that.